man, just the emotion and power behind it, and you know, Suga's cadence is, I mean, it's pretty infallible in that song. So that initially, just the reaction of it as a song,
amazing,
awesome. And then now we're going to the connections, like
yeah.
I guess you were talking about, I mean, 2013 versus now, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So the mindset of where the boys were at then and where they are now is evident, and this has a heavier tone to
yeah,
it.
Definitely.
It's not the I'm searching for my dream and where it's going to lead, all the great stuff that's going to come from that. Now it's like
the reality,
I'm in the reality of the dream, and I'm living it, and now it's not exactly as I expected it to be.
Hi everyone!
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure by now we have all seen Shadow about 1,000,000 times, and
Yes.
it's just amazing, hands down. There is so much depth to it, so much emotion to it. Just when we initially saw it, we watched it without subtitles first, and immediately
Yeah, I was hooked like right off the bat.
Yeah.
And that doesn't usually happen to me. I have to kind of listen a few times and digest a little bit more, but it really just grabbed me.
Yeah.
Just the video with no subtitles, the song straight through is really, I mean, really mature, I think,
Yeah.
to show where Suga's come, I think, a long way in his writing as well as his performance. You know?
I think that just there was already immediately, like from beginning to end, just it's all vulnerability, being able to show the truth and be honest about like so much reality that
Very
is
honest.
happening right now.
Yeah, it's funny because I think after I really listened to it a few times, and initially I was kind of like, okay, this is where it's going, and then I started thinking, okay, like he's really connecting the dots here.
Yeah.
So that there's a lot of Easter eggs.
Yeah,
in
so
there.
I'm sure you have all caught on with the primary connection to Oh, Are You Late To back in 2013, and it's sort of coming full circle basically, because what I got from it is that Oh, Are You Late To is sort of like a prequel to Shadow in a sense, where you know, that song is asking all the questions and sort of addressing this youthful mindset of this big dream, and then we get to Shadow and it's like sort of a hit of reality and the
Can I say one thing really quick?
Yeah.
Like the thing I think is crazy is that most artists, when they're writing songs, they just progress through. They start at one point and they write and they do album after album after album, and they don't ever go back and reflect. And this is so interesting because to me, back in 2013, they're talking about what their mindset is there. The dream, live life every day to the fullest, and let's get to this point. And, you know, it still hasn't really happened yet. So they're singing about that mindset where it hasn't really happened yet, but there's a possibility of it happening. But let's just take the world by storm and do it.
Yeah.
Now, here we are, fast forward to now, 2020, and the dream has become reality. And it's not necessarily the reality that
you would initially expect. Especially with you know, having that initial youthful mindset. There is so much more growth and development from that point up until now.
Right. And now the reality is set in, and there's questions about the reality, right? So I guess, do you want to talk about how it relates?
Yeah, I just wanted to really pinpoint some of the key lyrics in Oh, Are You Late To, because I feel like they really are a sort of base for Shadow, and Shadow's answering these. We're gonna just go ahead and start off with some of the main lyrics. Nothing lasts forever, you only live once, so live your life, not any other's lives. Everything you did would be exactly what you will be, right? Why am I not in my life and in some other person's life? Put your hand on your heart and ask what you dream was, what it really was.
Yeah, that's really, I mean, and there's a lot more to that song, I think.
Yeah.
But just those main points, you know, it's the whole carpe diem, live life to the fullest, seize the day, like, you know, take what is yours, what's deserved of you. And back then, I don't think they realized what fame was really all about. It's what they had seen on TV or what they've heard, and they're kind of projecting that, like, that's what I want to get. I'm going to do whatever I can to get to that success level where I can, be super successful. And then we kind of
come full circle, basically.
2020, now you're there.
Yeah.
You're actually way past what you probably ever dreamed of. You're one of the biggest acts in the world, and like it's a whole different reality probably.
Exactly. I just, especially that last lyric, I feel like it's basically, the question of, was your dream back then, like, is it all it's turned out to be now, or is it something different?
Right.
I wanted to also just key in on the main lyrics in Shadow in order to connect these two songs together and just give the overall idea of everything.
And really quick, can I interject?
Yeah.
Because I think you found something on Twitter, but also we remembered watching it on one of the runs where Suga was specifically talking about Shadow. His thank you message, right?
So last year during the run episode, he basically said, we dreamed about flying high up in the sky, but it's too high and cold. It's hard to catch our breath. The brighter the light on us, the darker the shadow. What a relief that we have 7 members. What a relief that we have each other.
Yeah, wow. That's very poignant.
Yeah.
I don't think Suga doesn't say a lot, but when he does say something, you should probably be listening, because he's very thoughtful in what he says, and that's exactly like a very honest moment that probably got shuffled into the run stuff without anybody giving it a lot of thought. But man, he really gave it some thought. I think so. And then you jump into Shadow. It's all kind of been there all along, and now he's really
expressing it, and I feel like it's just this full-on expression of vulnerability and truth behind everything.
Yeah, it's very honest.
So he says, woo, I wondered every day how far I'd go. I came to my senses and I found myself here. Yeah, shadow at my feet, look down. It's gotten even bigger. I run, but the shadow follows. As dark as the light's intense, I'm afraid flying high is terrifying. No one told me how lonely it is up here.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about fame, is that when you want it, I think, so badly, you don't really expect that you're going to be so isolated at the top. And I mean, going back to him talking about having 7 guys with him, imagine going through that process alone, and then kind of being in this bubble where everybody's around you just telling you, what you want to hear, and plus all the pressure from your record company as well. But I think that he's very much expressing what it is. It's so much, it's so much adoration and love from ARMY, but when you think about it, they spend a lot of time in their own head, probably.
Yeah, definitely. People say there's splendor in that bright light, but my growing shadow swallows me and becomes a monster. The moment I'm flying high as I wished, my shadow grows in the blasting stark light. The moment I face myself brought lowest, it so happens that I'm flying the highest.
Yeah, it goes back to thinking about the creative process, and from an artistic standpoint, trying to express that art and get that out of you, juxtaposed with the fact that you have a lot of pressure and you have to be successful and you have to make numbers, you have to make money and all of this stuff. There is a struggle, an inner struggle from an artist to stay in that marketing zone or to really create from the heart. I think Big Hits has done a great job of allowing them to create. I think even though there is still the pressure of, is this going to do well? Like they even talk about when they go to sell tickets for a show, like, are we going to sell at a stadium? And then they do. And it's like, okay, now we have a responsibility to make this the best show ever. So there's all this pressure. At the same time, the creative you wants to express and wants to be honest about that expression and not be
Big
controlled.
Hit gives them that freedom to.
I think they really do. I mean, I think that they're kind of they have a general theme that they're going with, obviously, and this theme is trying to, like, you know, flesh out those inner demons to get everything out in the open, and to try to, when you've got 7 different personalities, and I mean, they're all different personalities, trying to make that all work well is not easy. And I think, so going back to the lyrics, obviously the whole thing is about shadow. And this thing that it keeps wanting you to get more and more and more. And so the struggle is the humility behind what they're going through.
And I also think that when it comes to like fame and money and power, people tend to think of like celebrities, CEOs, you know, whatever it may be, that those people, you know, what do they have to worry about? You know, they got basically everything that they want. You know, they can have anything in the world. Like, they don't struggle.
It's
but
a good
it's
life,
like,
right?
It's like, you know, you have to remember and stop sort of isolating people and using these labels in a sense, because it's like, when it comes down to it, we are all human. We all have struggles. We all have these
and a lot
same
of them are
inner
the same struggles, you know, even though it might be specific to your situation. We're all thinking the same thoughts all the time.
We're all connected.
Yeah,
like,
connected. It's a great way to put it. So.
And then I just wanted to touch base more on the lyric. The moment I face myself brought lowest, it so happens that I'm flying the highest. I really feel like he's saying that on the outside, he is his highest self, maybe connecting to the personification that is being put out into the world and all of the things that are happening. But internally, he is dealing with those demons and that struggle and those fears and just all of that.
I mean, that can make you a better writer. I mean, all that stuff, as dark as it gets, can make you a better writer. It can make you a better creator to go through those dark points in life, I think. But, you know, it is really telling. I mean, he's really kind of exposing his soul as to where he's at and what's happening to him, and is this all right? Because obviously they're very good people, and now when you start getting all the fame, and you can buy any car you want and buy any house you want, and, you know, throw money around like it's water, you start thinking to yourself, like, is this right? The morality seeps in, I think. And I think that's kind of the struggle here, is like, you know, how do I balance this out? How do I keep the shadow from growing? You know, I wanted the light, but the shadow is always there. So. And,
you know, okay, let me just get into these new lyrics, because it kind of dives into my next point is, so, yeah, I'm you, you are me, now do you know? Yeah, you are me, I'm you, now you do know. Basically, I feel as if it's, in a sense, the shadow talking to his true self, and kind of just like taking advantage of the fact that maybe you're in a vulnerable place at this point, and the shadow's trying to make you feel like you need it, in a sense.
And also the shadow is feeding the persona. And if you really want to get down to it, the shadow is going more and more and more, and the persona is going, okay, I have to keep this thing up, this kind of image of myself up, and at the same time there's this struggle going, I just want to be real. I just want to, you know, I don't want to have to put on this performance all the time, but now I'm at a place where I can't really stop. I have to keep going with the performance. So where's the balance? You know?
And the way that, like, I personally connected with it, and where it just sort of hit home for me, was basically with my OCD. The first thing that, you know, you learn is to separate yourself from the disorder. Otherwise, it will start to envelop you as you sort of get attached to it and start seeing yourself as the disorder. And I think that is the same, you know, understanding with shadow. If you are relating to your shadow, if you're not separating yourself from, you know, those inner demons or those fears and everything like that, it can be all consuming.
Well, and I think that also the interesting thing about that is, like you said, which is very important, is you don't want your disorder to identify who you are. It's not I'm Angelica with OCD. I'm not OCD Angelica. Like, you know, it's something you have that you deal with on a daily basis, but you are, the key is to not let it define you.
Yeah.
And so I've seen many cases, and I'm sure everybody else out there has too, where someone that's so famous that they just can't even relate to the regular person for a second.
Yeah.
Because they actually have become the fantasy that they created. Like, and they believe that they are in this godlike zone, I guess you would call it, but they're really not. And that's the key here is how do you stabilize and stay grounded, I guess.
Yeah.
They talk about flying high, and I think that maybe is some type of metaphor for wanting to be grounded, you know, because the grounding is what makes you human.
Exactly. And I just, it also, after, you know, watching the video so many times, you know, the very first time I immediately picked up on the fact that during the I Wanna Be verses, there is a little, I mean, it's all generally the same verse, but there is a little tweak in a couple of them where Yoongi is basically saying, I want to be me. And also, you know, I want to be.
Yeah, I think that the me part definitely is him saying, that's who I really am. Like, you know, he's an artist for sure. And I think that him saying I want to be me is almost him saying I want to be real.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to live the persona. I want to create and, you know, do it on a level where I'm able to exercise whatever's inside of me, because that's the therapy for the artist, really, is getting it out, having that voice, and especially probably for him being a songwriter. But I think that, there's a lot of interesting play on words back and forth that where you can, I mean, you can think about it even in more detail, but I think that it really comes down to, you know, him really speaking about what his truth is. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of honesty in this song.
Exactly.
And that's what comes across to me is like, wow, you know, and the visuals too. I mean, with the shadows and the visuals, it's all of it is very, and at the end with all the cameras going off, like that is just like life. Yeah. He is under the microscope constantly, and it's got to be difficult. You're trading your privacy, but also for the comfort of living however you want to live. But there's something inherent in the human psyche that needs that privacy, that needs that. Yeah. Like, I don't want to walk down the street and have everybody staring at me. That judgment that inherently comes with that has got to be suffocating sometimes. Yeah. So the cool thing is, like, when we watch the behind the scenes stuff and the runs, like, you know, and when they're going on vacation, you can really tell that they keep each other grounded. Yeah. Like, they make fun of each other. Like, you know, they have moments where they get irritated with each other. They're not all like, you know, bring me in my gold platter of grapes. And it's really, I think that's kind of the important thing. When you're alone and you're being handled all the time by agents and a record company and marketing and advertising and the investors, all that stuff, they don't really care about you as a person. Your money signs to them. So within this whole thing, the 7 is what's really important, right? I mean, that's what it's all about. Is, I think the 7, even though it has to do with these attributes we talked about, the 7 is all 7 of them keeping each other grounded, protecting each other, having this bond, this brotherly bond that they have, and, you know, constantly supporting each other. And that's the main thing. That just is family, really, right? So yeah, it's Army. Yes, definitely. It's just really incredible. I just want to say that I am very grateful for everything that has, you know, this video has brought a lot of light to. Yeah, it's a gift. I mean, you're able to, they're showing you behind the veil, right? Yeah. He's saying, hey, you know, this is all great. All this stuff's awesome, but there's a price to pay for it. And I think that also they want you to know that they're human and that
Yeah.
you know, I think Army really takes that into consideration. I think that this is a whole different thing. This is something different than Beatlemania. It's something different than any of the frenzies where it's just about the adoration. I think everybody is on some level getting something out of this connection from each other, from your connection with other Army members, from friends that you've met in the Army, to this universal bond that everybody has. So it's really awesome. I mean, it's fascinating from a social standpoint, you know, for me anyway, but it's really, I mean, how can you beat constant positivity?
Exactly,
it's positive. Even when you're talking about the dark things, there's a reason why it's being talked about. Like, you know, let's talk about it all. Let's get it out there. Let's actually talk about mental health for once, because everybody likes to hide it, not talk about it, or, you know, shove it under the rug, so to speak. But these are what the things that make discussion possible and solve problems. So
and it's really important to be able to open up and you know, be vulnerable and find the strength in that. So well, there is obviously more to come with this album, and
we're probably not done with this song.
Yeah, I'm like, there's still so much, but anyways, thank you guys for watching this video, and we appreciate you. We purple you, Bora. All right, so until next time.
See you later.